It's interesting how sometimes we can feel like there's something, maybe a shadow, following us from the past. And just the thought of that shadow, or that echo, it can stir up feelings that almost seem to take on a life of their own. You may even be thinking, what if those things come back? What if they follow me? What if I told you the very idea of being haunted by your past might just be a misunderstanding, just like a distant echo of something that no longer has power over you, unless you choose to give it that power. And it's normal, isn't it, to think about what happened before, maybe wishing you could rewrite certain chapters, or even feel a little uneasy about things that can't be undone. But here's a simple shift. Imagine just for a moment that every mistake, every choice, is like stepping stones on a path. Sometimes we see those steps as obstacles. Sometimes we don't realize that each step was leading us to where we are right now, stronger, wiser, and more capable than we ever knew before. You see, mistakes, they're not like ghosts at all, are they? They're just experiences. When you choose to look at them differently, as experiences rather than mistakes, they lose their hold on you. Because the past, it's already behind you. When you let that thought settle inside you, really let it land, you realize nothing from the past can chase you, unless you're still running towards it. Now just think for a moment. What if the very thing you were so afraid of wasn't really something to be afraid of at all? What if your past mistakes were simply lessons in disguise? They were the very thing that created the person you are today. More aware, more confident, more resilient. In fact, what if every fear you ever had about your past, it's just your mind's way of telling you something you're ready to let go of? It's if you're standing on the edge of a new chapter and your past is no longer a place where you need to go. Can you imagine what it would be like to step into your future, knowing that the past, in all its forms, is no longer something that has any power over you? Every memory, every moment, it's just a story that you now tell from a place of strength and wisdom. The past only has meaning that you give it. And just like an old book, you can choose when to put it down. And there's a secret to this, the power to rewrite your future, to reshape how you see the past, lies not in fighting what's already behind you, but in understanding the freedom of walking forward step by step, with all that you've learned, all that you've experienced, knowing that your path ahead is clearer, brighter, and more empowering than ever before. You've probably noticed when you stop running from something, it no longer chases you. It's like a shadow that, when you turn towards it, begins to shrink and fade into the distance. And so, in this moment, you can choose to let go of the fears that were holding you back. Because just as easily as shadows can dissolve when you step into the light, your fear of the past can vanish when you see it for what it truly is, a part of you that no longer defines you. It's time to embrace who you are now, and to look at the past with a sense of gratitude, knowing it has no power over you anymore. It's all just a story, and you, the storyteller, have the pen in your hand. Imagine how empowering it is to realize, at any moment, you can turn the page, step into the next chapter, and leave behind all that no longer serves you. The future, your future, is waiting, and it's full of possibility. And as you move forward, it's like you've gained new eyes that see not mistakes, but opportunities to grow, to evolve, and to realize that no mistake, no matter how big, can ever hold you back, unless you choose to give it that power. And here's the truth. You're so much bigger than any mistake. You're more than any fear you've ever held. You are the person who now knows how to let go, how to forgive, how to move forward with confidence. And as you continue to walk this path, you'll find each step becomes easier, smoother, because now you know deep down that your past is not something to fear. It's something that's already past. And what remains is you. You who has learned and grown, and now stand ready to create whatever you desire. So as you breathe in deeply and breathe out. Let go of any remaining fear, any last shred of doubt. Know you're in control, and always have been. And with each breath, you grow stronger, more focused, and more aware of the amazing journey that's ahead of you. And isn't it fascinating how the mind works? How it can take something from the past, an event, a moment, even just a fleeting mistake, and turn it into something larger than life. But as you think about that now, you might start to wonder, is it really as big as it seems? Or has it just been magnified by the way it carried in your mind? Because the things we carry with us, they only feel heavy when we forget that we have the choice to put them down. And maybe, just maybe, this idea that your past mistakes have power over you, it's never truly been about the past at all. What if the idea of being haunted wasn't about the mistakes themselves, but about the way the mind has held on to them? And here's an interesting part. If you're holding on to something, doesn't it mean you already have the strength to release it? Let that thought settle in. You see, every mistake, every choice, every action you've ever taken was simply the best choice that you could make with the information, the resources, and the emotions that you had at the time. That's right, you did the best you could. And even if looking back, you might think, I would have done it differently now. Isn't that the clearest proof that you've grown, that you've learned, that you've become someone wiser, stronger, and so much more than you were before? Because think about it. The you that made those past decisions, that you didn't know what you know now. But you're sitting here, listening now, knowing better. And because you know better now, it means you've already moved beyond those moments. You've already outgrown them, haven't you? And isn't it funny how people sometimes, they hold on to their past as if it's an unchangeable truth. But the truth about the past is, it isn't real anymore. It's not here. It's not now. It's just an echo, a reflection, a story your mind tells you to make sense of where you've been. And if it's a story, doesn't that mean you can change how it's told? You can shift the perspective, rewrite the meaning, and let go of the weight it once carried. Now imagine this for a moment. Picture your past mistakes as seeds scattered across a field. At first glance, they might seem like weeds, wild and untamed. What if those very seeds, they've been growing into something else entirely? What if beneath the surface, they've been nourishing the soil, preparing it for something beautiful to bloom? Because isn't it true? Even the toughest lessons, the hardest moments, they often become the foundation for our greatest growth. And as you picture that, as you let the image of those seeds transform into flowers or trees or something even more vibrant, you might begin to notice how fear begins to shift, how it begins to soften, as if the edges of it are dissolving, fading, becoming something else entirely. Because you're starting to realize, aren't you? The fear wasn't ever about mistakes themselves. It was about forgetting how much power you have to choose right now, what to make of them. And when you think about it like that, it doesn't become clear. The purpose of every mistake, every misstep, wasn't to punish you, but to teach you, to show you where you could grow, to remind you of your own resilience, your own ability to adapt, to evolve, to rise above. Because isn't that what you always have done? Even when it didn't feel like it at the time, you've always found a way to keep moving forward. So let's think about this now. What if those moments you've been afraid of, they weren't mistakes at all? What if they were just chapters in a book that isn't finished yet? And what if the next chapter, the one you're writing now, is the one where everything changes? Because as you sit here now, you're beginning to understand something powerful. You're starting to realize the past doesn't define you, it prepares you. And isn't that a freeing thought? To know every moment you've ever lived has been leading you to this one. This moment right here, when you decide right now to see things differently, to let go of what's behind you, and to embrace the truth that you are, and always have been, in control of your own story. And so, from this moment on, you carry this truth with you. The past is not a chain, but a stepping stone. It's not something to fear, but something to learn from. And each step you take forward, it's proof. The only power the past had was the power you gave it. And now, as you take back that power, you can feel it spreading through you, a sense of strength, of calm, of certainty. The kind of certainty that comes from knowing that you're free, free to move, free to create, free to live.